You could be anywhere.
How would I know that?
I asked him.
I saw you were with them.
That's in the parking lot after we finished playing golf.
I asked him the same thing. I said, where's your place?
No, I didn't. Hold on, I'm falling with my electronic.
He told me.
Do we have Dennis on Zoom or is he absent-minded?
Well, they're great before I run into them. Yeah, you gotta know it's there. Well, I did it down.
Yeah, it feels fantastic.
Because I can't
Right?
see it.
No?
I didn't, something was fantastic to hear.
They turned the air on.
That was good.
Does it feel good or no?
Yes. Oh, there he is.
Okay, not answering. the
Did
phone.
you stuck there?
Right. agreed. Carmen, how are you today?
I'm good, thanks, Connie, what did I
I am doing fantastic, thank you.
Facebook man, though.
No, we didn't have.
Just around.
Because we asked him, it was on.
Yeah, no, he was,
And then step down.
One now.
he called us, yes, that's us, so.
Yeah.
We're on.
Right there.
So,
No, it's not. Go back on my smoking wall. Did I see Brian out there?
Yep. You did.
There he is.
There he is.
Soon come. About time.
Well, I mean, he's right on.
Right on time.
1:30, straight up.
Exactly. Okay, now that we are all here, except for Dennis, who I think,
He's okay.
Somebody else last minute, huh?
that's Dennis. There we go. We're just trying to get Dennis to join us here.
Dennis is here.
Go down.
Let's see if Steve can figure out how to put the pictures back up. No.
No. Okay, well, for now, we don't see Dennis's face, but we'll get him eventually. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and call this Board of Directors meeting for the Mission Lakes Country Club come to order at 1:31. You'd like to join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
Due to the flag of the United States of America, the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Amen.
Three ball.
Right?
That's because.
So welcome, everyone. It's wonderful to see all the faces out there in our gallery today. And as I said, the board is all present except Dennis is with us on Zoom. So let's get the board meeting started with the approval of the board minutes.
Like a motion to approve. The meeting, the board minutes
Yes, please.
MLCC Board of Directors, session minutes, March 23rd, 2024. MLCC Board of Directors.
Hey, turn the microphone away from the speaker.
Just turn it off.
Is yours on?
One's off. It's the Facebook.
And
Oh, this one, it's this one.
There you go.
There we go.
Thank you, Dennis.
Sure.
Sorry. MLCC Board of Directors organizational session minutes, March 23rd, 2024. MLCC Board of Directors meetings minutes, March 27th. Can you hear me?
No.
Is your microphone on? There you go. And
Yell, or you turn it on. March 27th, 2024, MLCC Board of Directors and Committee Chairperson meeting minutes, April 10th, 2024.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion about these minutes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion is carried. We will now move on to member comments. And I have a few here. First of all, I have Eddie Baxter, who would like to speak for Peggy.
Yes, I would. Not sure I want to, but I'm going to.
You're a good man.
You
Eddie.
better not mess this up. I'm gonna, I'm not here. So, you all probably know how she feels about trees. Right? Maybe not a real serious hugger, but pretty close to it. So she has an impact statement that she would like me to read today. So here we go. There are a lot of members that have not been in favor of cutting down the proposed 27 trees that is scheduled to start in June. One of the safety trees that have been here for many, many years destroyed. You would probably remember the background of some of our trees. As I understand it, Bob Butcher and Walt Nash, old members, were instrumental in putting together a tournament that included Douglas Aircraft employees. The tournament was held to raise money, guess what, to buy and plant trees. Even though I'm on the Green Committee, I am against the trees being removed. I understand diseased or dying trees have to be removed. I respectfully ask the board to review the proposal and keep in mind that members work so hard so that our course could have trees.
Thank you, Eddie.
You are welcome.
Thank you, Eddie. The next one is the Golf Committee MGA request. Rick Ketchum.
Good afternoon. I understand that there is an item on the agenda for something to do with MGA times or this, that, or the next thing. Being a member of the MGA, I'm going to suggest that the board set this aside for review in the future, because as a member of the MGA, I'm not aware of what this is all about. We've not had a meeting about it, and we've not voted on it. So whatever this is it's except, a couple of members maybe bringing this forward who have neglected to let the rest of the MGA know what this is all about. So if it's not been approved by the majority of the MGA, it's not a real deal. So that's my piece.
So Rick, were you at the evening meeting that we had?
No, it's not, that was not a regular meeting. It was notified.
Were you here?
I was notified of it Friday morning.
That's not what I asked you.
Well, my point is it's not
Were
it's not a
you
it's not a
here?
regular meeting, because you don't call a meeting 8 hours before the meeting.
Were you here?
I was not here.
Okay, thank you. So, Mr. Ashdown will probably speak to this later today. So we'll
When
figure out.
are we gonna receive as an MGA member, something in writing, telling us what it is and giving us an opportunity to vote on?
Well, there was a lot of people here. Sorry you couldn't make it. But I believe it was voted on. And look, I'm not a voting member of the MGA, right? But he will be speaking about this today, all right? So if you still feel that way after, then I guess we'll
I
review
feel that
that.
way regardless until we give me the information in writing and I know what it's all about.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Rick. Okay, and then one more from the Golf Committee, and that is Hank.
Yeah, good afternoon. Yeah, I have to concur with Rick Ketchum. Our meetings are usually on Saturday morning. That's what we voted on. We voted on Saturday morning meetings before tournaments. And also, I think 8 o'clock start times for Wednesday. That was what voted on last year. Now, this thing about a Friday night, I got something on an email, and it was in regards to this tournament they had. It's not a regular meeting. Okay, let's get that straight. Maybe they were up here voting on whatever they were voting on, I don't know, but it was not a regular meeting. Regular meetings are always on Saturday morning prior to the tournament. We have five major tournaments, that's why we have 5 major meetings. Anything else is off the cuff. So if, you said Mr. Ashdown he's gonna comment about this?
Yes.
Okay, I'll reserve the rest of my comments until I hear what he got to say, but I concur with Mr. Kitchen here. First of all, I don't think we need to block any tee times because there's a lot of people that live here on the weekends that would like to play golf. But every time we turn around, it's either the tournament and they get blocked out. So I don't think it's fair. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Hank? So that concludes my member comment cards for the day.
Sir, see anything else?
Is there,
And I don't see any on Facebook.
No.
We will ask, are there any other comments, just so that we're not looking for them later?
okay,
Well, are you speaking?
Yes, no, go ahead and speak now.
Okay, on the whole scenario?
Go ahead.
Sure.
I think that would be appropriate.
My name is George Azevedo. I'm a member here, real estate broker. We had, a person I didn't previously know, approached me about purchasing several lots here in Mission Lakes to build new homes. He's established builder, and he's got a footprint and a floor plan to build basically a 1,500 square foot home, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, which fits the market and fits the profitability pro forma for building at this time. He approached me about building these, made some offers on 4 lots, but we had to find out if he could build these homes, which are under the 1,600 minimum square feet.
1650.
1,600.
1,600 minimum square feet that we have in the in our policy, in our CC.
1,500, 1,800 on the golf.
Okay, 1,800 on the golf course itself, 1,600 anywhere else. So anyway, he asked me if I would approach the board and find out if they would give him a variance to build under 1,600, basically 1,550 square feet. The elevation and the footprint of the 1,550 square foot home and the 1,600 square foot home, the elevation, you look at it from the outside, it's the same. The change is interior wall moving into the garage by a couple feet to allow 1,500 square feet of living space. Okay, so it's anyway, right now, there's some folks I believe that don't want this to happen. But a few of the items that are things that I've heard were people worried that building a smaller home inside Mission Lakes would bring down the value of the connecting properties or inside. Well, inside Mission Lakes, we have approximately 919 homes. We have 1,069 total lots or properties, which include the condos, a little over 100 condos, about 60 open lots.
50.
Pardon?
50.
About 50 open lots now, okay.
There's 168 condos.
Okay, and then we have but about 30% of the present homes that are in here were built under 1,600 square feet. A lot of them, probably 150, are in the 1,400 square foot block, okay? So, building a new home in any development is normally going to, assist your housing prices, because everything's based on per square foot, okay? So you're not basing a 1,400 square foot house here against a 300 square foot house. It's all based on square foot, okay, so with the value, so. In no way will it devalue the properties, existing properties in it. It would raise the overall value of the golf course in the sense of having new homes come in. Okay, and they're gonna be, they're contemporary style. Some folks had some concerns about them not fitting in with what we have. Well, most of the houses we have in here are built in the 80s and 90s. So a builder now presently is not gonna build a retro home, I should say. That looks like something out of the 80s and 90s. They're gonna build a contemporary style, which is a lot like you'd see.
We got it right.
Yeah, okay, lots of like you see in Palm Springs and stuff. But anyway, I wanted to give that information to the board to make sure they understood that it's from the real estate side, it's gonna be a positive to this, to the golf course.
Thank you, George.
Thank you, George. We appreciate that. Is there any other comments?
Would we be able to ask a question to that?
Yes,
All that,
please do.
is any of those homes on the golf course?
No,
So they're all internal.
right now, there's 4 internal lots that are all 7405, the standard lot here. Okay, he didn't want to build basically a 1,500 square foot home on a 10,000 square foot lot, because it takes away from his profitability, okay? And, we haven't had any other builders want to come in and build the numbers, because the numbers right now for, development just don't add up. It's not feasible to build. It's feasible for him to build because he builds this, basically this one style of home. Yes, sir. Okay, so.
Yes,
What's the real difference between 1,550 and 1,600?
50 tiny square feet.
Huh?
50.
I know, that's what I'm saying, but what's the like monetary difference? I don't understand. Why can't he just do 1,600?
The plan that he builds, he has a crew that basically builds this model, okay? And, he would have to go back into the architect, have it redrawn, okay? So at 1,500, he can build a house that's gonna retail at about 400,000. Okay, 395 to 400,000. Over that, it eats into his profitability. So you're not gonna see a difference physically from the house of 1,500, 1,600. But the 1,500 number is a number that he can be profitable in building a house.
Yes,
Okay,
And also, what type of fence is he planning on doing?
something that's appropriate.
Whatever is approved. by
Most of the fences are actually
The lot
already,
size-
the neighbors already have. a
Yes,
fence
the
up.
lots that he's gonna build on right now have all existing block wall. Okay, so we're not gonna see a
The fence is the
metal
easy
fence
part.
of any type, it's existing block wall.
the houses will be accepted by the ACC committee as far as colors and fencing and that structure wise. The only thing that is being discussed right now is the variance from going from the 1,500 to from us having 1,600, and now they would like a variance to bring that down to 15. So that's what the discussion that is going on at this time.
The colors
And
will
we
all
thank
fall
you.
within the palette of, that we have established.
Of the
here. If
ACC.
it's browns, what it needs to be, it'll all be that.
And we thank you for that. Walt?
Yes, well,
We had that many houses that are 1,400, what are they considered, non-conforming, or did those ever get?
They're much older homes.
Yes, the change was made in 2020.
so 2020, they
Square
made a
footage
change
change was?
to an
Yes.
arbitrary.
Thank you, that
1,600.
clarification. Yeah, I get it now. Thanks.
If the board were to look at a variance,
Mike's on, can you guys
if the board would consider a variance on that, then I think you could limit that variance to, in the case of a minimum size lot, in terms of a, you know, an under 8,000 square foot lot. In these cases, these are 7405, which is the minimum lot. You know, that's a large, 1,600 is a large minimum for those lots. It's a perfectly fine for the 10,000 square foot lots we have. But for our minimum cookie cutter lot, that's tight. My home in Pasadena is 7,900 square foot lot with a 1550 house. And I don't know where we would build more house on that corner lot, you know, so you could word the variance. I've heard people tell me, if we grant a variance here, we're gonna have 900 square foot houses, we're gonna have this, we can't enforce it. I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. You word the variances. In the case of 7,400, we judge that to be, going under is fine in the case of a minimum.
George, thank you so much.
Thank you so
We
much,
appreciate it.
George.
I'm glad
Thank
that
you
came
for
in.
that. We are going to wrap this up and move on.
Will it be done in a timely manner if they do get built? It won't be like the one underground that's still not.
No, they're gonna take 4 or 5 years. It'll be fine.
Okay,
Yes,
that's-
yeah.
So this
The
discussion.
reason they have this, I guarantee you, these guys don't just do this and they know what they're doing.
This
That's
gentleman
why they're
wants to get
sticking to their
started
guns.
immediately. He wants to build several because it's more profitable for him to have a crew out here working on several houses at one time.
This is something that the board is still discussing on, and we'll continue to discuss this further. And I thank you all for your comments, and thank you, George, for coming today and explaining what.
Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no more comments, then we are moving on to the general manager's report.
Okay, we're gonna give a little financial overview. The month of March, we were over budget by 13,432. For the month overall, 20,543 over budget on expenses, $7,112 better than budget on revenue. Based on the CPA's opinion, when we were doing our audit, on income tax estimation, we prepaid our 2024 taxes in the month of March. And it's about $33,000 more than what we budgeted for. This is based on interest that we're receiving, that we're expected to earn, revenues, and decrease in availability and depreciation. And also there are carried over losses are dwindling, so that sort of gave us a tax break each year. So for the month of March, we were over budget by 13,000, but 33,000 of it was basically the prepaid tax. Food and beverage was over budget by $2,028. Golf shop was better than budget by $2,434. G&A over budget by $26,493, basically on that tax prepayment and taxes. Golf maintenance was better than budget by $10,407. Clubhouse better than budget by $3,310. Mission Lakes Inn was better than budget by $2,847. And pool and rec was over budget by $1,386. Reserves for the month of January, we spent $21,306, and at the end of the month, we had $3.6 million in reserves with $286,513 in approved RFCAs that have not been paid out yet. So that's our financial overview for March. Food and beverage, starting off in May, we got Cinco de Mayo on Sunday, May 5th, 1 p.m. to 5 p.m. Then we have our annual Mother's Day brunch with 2 seatings, 10 a.m. and 1 p.m. Paint and sip on Thursday, May 16th. If anybody had a chance to come to the last paint and sip, it was well attended, and I think everybody had a good time. Every Thursday, we're going to be doing a theme night. This Thursday coming up, we have the wood oven pizza coming out from 4 to 8 p.m. And then bingo night on May 9th and May 23rd. Karaoke, I was informed today, our karaoke gentleman can't be here on May 31st, so they're gonna move it to May 10th for karaoke. And then May 27th, Memorial Day barbecue from 1 to 5 p.m. We also had a little golf tournament that day. So for the comment cards for the month. Not enough tables for dinner, very rude people live here. I had the special carnitas bowl in the sandwich. It was supposed to be moist pulled pork, but it was dry and chunky. My husband had a Reuben sandwich, was burnt on one side, very long wait, so did not say anything to the staff. At the end, the room needed a little airing out, but golf and housekeeping was excellent. The inn, another one from the inn, room clean, had lunch, was good. MGA Champion Center, thank you to the MGA for hosting such a wonderful event to acknowledge with trophies and MGA champions. To Luz, thank you to all your staff, and thank you for bringing Romo and staff out for a standing ovation. Great food and presentation. Please make some changes. This is a new one. Please make some changes to the dinner and happy hour menus. They've been there for almost a year. We need some changes, please. Enjoyed our stay, clean rooms, and really enjoyed the golf course. We had a breakfast and lunch, and it was good. We recommend MLCC as a good destination. Popcorn, because of the concern for high blood pressure, there is salt on the table that can be added if needed. Not in favor of cutting down healthy trees and those providing shade or protection from golf balls. Please save the trees, beautiful mature trees that have deep enough roots to not affect water consumption. Desert plus trees equal good. If trees are being cut because we need grass to grow, that reason is lame. Grass in the center should be set to go dormant of the fairways anyway. No watering, no seed. The trees need to stay. Disease, yes. Healthy, no. You need professional advice on this matter. Maybe an arborist needs to be consulted. Cut down the don't cut down the trees. It brings character to our course. Cut down dead trees and replant new ones.
Yes.
Not in favor of cutting down that many trees. Unhealthy trees, okay. Please don't cut down the trees. It's part of the beauty of our course. Provide shade in the summer and all times, and at times makes the course more difficult. Okay. And then my next comment was, love this band, please do this again. We had a live band last Thursday. Love the brunch, but can we get fried fish on the menu? So those are our comments for the month of March.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you very much, Eric. We will move on now to the committee reports. First committee is the Architectural Control Committee. Karen, liaison.
Yes, Kurt's going to give our.
You got one motion on there. You got one motion.
What do I have to do? Oh, motion to approve alternate voting member Grant Smith.
Second.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll soon.
Motion to approve new voting member Grant Smith.
Second.
Thank you, sir.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any nays?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
And now we have a report from Kent Carlson, our ACC chair.
Hi, everybody, the new member since last year February, and I got this enchanted post. Yeah, you guys.
Thank
The
you.
board, and I thank you for that.
A new most hated member.
We thank you.
Oh, we do thank you.
We appreciate you.
As I as I've shared with the board and members of my committee, my primary goal, as I share, is to listen to the concern of our members and how our best to deal with some of the issues we face in keeping our community appealing to our members and guests. On my part, I want to extend to you my friendship and look ways to cooperate with one another, keeping with the HOH guidelines that we all have to follow. Primary to look more friendly ways to reaching out to common goals. In an effort, we have a great start for the dedicated group in our committee. And I just got another one today. Great. So our first project that we have actually started to take the first steps in communicating the process by reviewing our rules and regulations and look at ways to make them easier to understand. And the one missing component is you guys. So I invite you to come and encourage you to join our meetings every third Monday. At 1:30. Okay, that's it. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, and now we'll move on to the condominium report. Walt?
That's
Am I
you.
supposed to give it? Oh, I'll give a report.
Come on, Walt.
Oh, we didn't discuss this. Anyway, so we are continuing to move ahead with catching up on things in the condominiums. We had a successful assessment. Unfortunately, we've had some issues continuing with the sewage in one of our buildings. The grounds are looking good. Our security cameras are up. Mike Jennings is doing a great job with that. We've had some issues with people jumping the fence into the pool. Helen, our secretary, has sent a letter out to the Palm Desert Police, Riverside County Police Sheriff, indicating what's been going on and asking for increased patrol in our neighborhood. Anything else to add to that, Walt?
Got some roofing issues. with
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we have some deferred maintenance items that we are beginning to address.
We updated some of our trash enclosures.
Yes, on updated trash enclosures. And we've had a handyman come in, so some health and safety issues with walkways and different things are also being addressed.
Okay.
So
You actually having people jump the fences.
yeah,
It's not just there.
no,
It's across the street.
Well, it wasn't, that's right, but it wasn't so bad that they jumped the fence, is that they vandalized stuff.
Yeah.
They graffitied our mirrors in the bathrooms and on the furniture. I mean, I understand if kids want to get in the pool and they don't have a pool, but do they have to really break stuff? I mean, come on. Anyways,
Same people.
oh, it was the same group?
Who knows?
Oh.
yeah, it's a nightmare. I mean,
I had some farm girl suggestions for deterrents, but they're not gonna fly.
You might be surprised.
But as a side note too, that several of our members that are also condo owners are very positive about the open communication with the club now that they didn't have in the past. So I just wanted to share that with all you guys. You know, I mean, they're starting to notice it now.
Well, I
No,
think a lot of
sometimes
it is because of your involvement and Karin's involvement, and I think that's awesome. And Helen, and
Well, I think it's all of your involvement too. It's all of us. You know, but you know, sometimes things like this are slow to change, especially when people aren't used to it. But I really believe that we're all working in a positive direction. And I think as far as financing for the club by using the restaurant and stuff, I mean, I think it's gonna help everybody. I think it helps them too, because they get more involved. People like to be involved in their community, I think. Don't you?
Great, yeah.
You know, to a certain degree, different degrees for everybody, but I think everybody wants to be a part of the family.
Yeah.
Anyways, I'm sorry to make.
That's perfect,
No, you're
thank you,
good.
Walt.
Thank you. Ken? Yes.
Yeah, we set up the, we're gonna call a stop station or hangout for the cops over there, whoever wants to come CHP. Are we getting any kind of action or that, which may prevent some of this,
Okay,
violating the mirrors and stuff? And I mean, if they see a patrol car, they're gonna be possible to have to do something like that.
okay, so this has been an ongoing thing, and I think one of the condo owners initially proposed the cop station down there, the substation. And this was before I even came, and I've been here 4 years. The last thing that I heard, Eric, was that they got a new commander out in Palm Desert. And I don't even know who our lead officer is now. But that, I don't know if Mr. Perry can update us on what's happening. But I just know we're sort of just waiting. But we've got patrol here. We do have security cameras down there. I don't know what else to tell you with cops. I think, Walt.
I can update you on that. The new watch commander, and for whatever reason, he's reluctant to use the office, but it is ready and we're offering it. But they haven't chose to use it.
Is there any support that you can solicit from our community to encourage them to come out?
Wouldn't hurt to write them a letter, I guess, but I mean, if they said tomorrow they wanted to use it. We have some stuff stored in there, but I mean, within 24 hours, I can have it.
Yeah.
But we've asked them several times, because we agree, we think if there was just a vehicle parked out there, it would help.
This is the Palm Desert Sheriff's, we've got to do Washington County.
Yes.
Okay, all right. I've got some contacts, maybe I'll make some phone calls.
Thank
You know,
you.
the other thing too, is my understanding is that they only have 2 cars from between Palm Desert and
Yucca
29 Palms or Yucca Valley or something. We're not talking a lot of people.
That's CHP too, so.
That might have something to do with it. Well, we thought if they had to drive that far, it'd be kind of nice to have a station somewhere. in
Oh,
between.
yeah, definitely.
But yeah, to answer your question, it's available. If they want to use it, they just need to call us.
All right.
Great. Okay, thank you so very much for the condo report. We will now move on to finance. Steve?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve checks over 1,000 for operations and reserve accounts for March 2024.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. I
Any
would like
nays?
to
Motion carried.
make a motion to approve the financing credit report for March 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The this came from the Greens Committee and was approved by the Finance Committee. We have RFCA 863205 in the amount of $29,256 from reserves to finish the enclosure of the pump station.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
Yeah, which one are we talking about? That one or this one?
The big pump station
Between
behind the two and one.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
This one came from, I guess, what, the clubhouse?
Clubhouse.
Yeah. It was approved by finance, RFCA 865805, in the amount of 24,200 from reserves for new AC units, replacing the 5-ton for the kitchen and 4-ton unit for the bar. Vendor Quality Care AC.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And those were, I believe that was planned in the year coming forward anyway. So. Also.
It was last year. It was in the reserves, but they were working okay, so we didn't replace it.
And then this was came through passed by the Finance Committee as well. RFCA 863305 in the amount of $55,537.25 from reserves for replacement of the 350 horsepower motor and also the soft start for it, right?
Yeah.
The vendor is Cloudburst Engineering. And this is that's my motion if you want a second.
I will second that, and please do so they can hear it. Second.
So now this is the main well motor behind the third tee, and that motor failed. And apparently that motor has already been rewound 3 times. So the advice we had from Cloudburst Engineering was it's time to put in a fresh motor. And if you notice the lake levels down on 2, that's because the backup is, I think, a 150 horsepower motor, and it's running around the clock as hard as it can, try to pump out of our well and into the lakes is where the lake is then where we draw from the main pump station to handle the irrigation for the entire course. And so we're running right there at that ragged edge.
Good news, you can find more balls right now, but we do need to watch.
Yes.
Hey, Ted's gone already.
So I believe the order's already been placed on that one. So because it was one existing on the west coast.
Right.
So
Immediate. Do you think that's what the gentleman who we saw inside the lake? other day was looking for.
Did anybody see
That's
that?
with his dogs.
We have
I also saw our director of golf course operations, in that lake,
I went swimming that day, the boat took over.
that was an unintentional swim, though.
I got it.
There's someone that's been having his dogs out there. He's been playing on the golf course and in the lake.
We know
We
that.
heard.
We know that.
Easy.
Too bad he didn't have a dog park to go
Give
to,
him the
right?
paintball gun so we can see him afterwards.
Is there any other board discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Dennis?
Yeah, aye.
Motion carried. So is there anything else on finance, Steve?
That's all I got for finance. Time for an exciting golf committee discussion.
Oh, boy, it's gonna be fantastic.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So now we will move on to golf committee.
Okay, so I have a motion to approve changing the cross-country event on May 11th that's scheduled as an MGA WGA event to now become an MLCC event going forward.
I second that one.
Thank you.
Is there any board discussion on this?
Yes. This was approached, I got it written initially through the golf committee about this. I've been ruminating about this for this one.
Yeah, pull it up. Pull it up. There you go.
Better? Yeah, so I've been thinking about this and I've written so many notes about this over the last couple weeks. And I guess firstly, rather than reading that, I want to know why.
Mr. Ashdown, would you like to respond?
Sure. I do believe that the cross-country tournament and other tournaments like that is a community, MLCC community event. It shouldn't be just MGA, WGA. It should be open to all the community members that want to play that. It's a fun event. It's not a ultra competitive event, which is what the MGA, WGA should be. We have our club championships in those. We have our member guests. We have our member members. We have 5 main ones during the season, and those are what the MGA, the WGA should really be concentrated on. I think the MLCC board, golf committee should be focusing on just getting those kind of things out where we can get more members from the community into those tournaments. Then they might want to play in the MGA, WGA. We tend to have the same 40, 50 guys. The ladies have a little less than that in our MGA, WGA member tournaments. So I just think separating that is an appropriate thing.
Now, there's a limit to the number of people who can play in that, but also now, are you suggesting that the SOS Ride tournament in June and the MGA WGA tournament in August, which is elected, also be changed to MLCC?
This is outside.
Yeah, I don't believe I see that on here.
No.
Okay, this was not approved by the WGA. I can't read the bylaws or the standing rules for the men because it's not on the website. But the women's bylaws say that there will be a monthly WGA tournament. If this is taken away, there is no monthly WGA tournament. So I don't think the board is going to approve another tournament for May. There's no place to have it. Also, I think this is a discussion better for next year's golf calendar, because the golf calendar has been set. It was set and approved already. And there are MLCC events. So I think this is not a plausible because it's not allowed by our bylaws, by our standing rules.
I'm sorry. Does this affect, the tournament still happens?
Right, no, the tournament's gonna happen. It's just whether it's MGA, WGA,
So
or
it still happens,
MLCC.
it doesn't affect
Right,
anything.
it does-
else
it doesn't
than what we call
affect
It just allows more
Whatsoever.
people to play it.
Agreed.
That's all.
When is the WGA tournament held in May then?
WGA isn't that one tournament though. That's a combination tournament plus outside play.
But you're changing it to MLCC, which means there will not be a WGA
But
tournament.
every
That's not
WGA member
WGA.
is allowed to participate in this tournament.
I understand that, but it's not a WGA tournament, which is what the standing rules say.
So
Robert, please.
Rob,
we did not request that the WGA take their name. We were just asking to take the MGA off of that tournament originally. And then we heard that you guys were, the ladies were willing to take it off too, so that's why it came on the calendar like this, but if you, we're not requesting that the WGA take their moniker off of that event at all.
So this would be just a WGA tournament for the cross country? That doesn't make sense.
I agree. No, this should be an MLCC tournament because it's not a competitive tournament, right? It's a fun tournament.
Just like
We
today.
have a lot of fun tournaments throughout the year. We don't just have the majors. Again, when are you gonna reschedule the monthly tournament?
I don't know that we are, but I've made a motion. I've got a second and let's vote.
All those in favor, sorry, I apologize, I am so sorry.
Before we vote, I just wanted to hear something from our director of golf.
So we did add one, which is the Folds of Honor Memorial Day on the 27th. That's a new tournament. MGA, WGA can have that. And I think the cross country, from when I started, was an MLCC, and so I don't remember when it got switched over to an MGA, WGA. So.
But on the golf calendar, it's MLCC.
So I'm not,
It's not
and I
MLCC.
do know that, yes, MGA and WGA are supposed to have one tournament a month. I do know that, so, and that's what it's been since I've been here. And that's why it was just very weird when I saw it was MGA, WGA for cross country, and I'm like, but we did add the Folds of Honor, Memorial, at Memorial Day, which is Monday, the 27th. So there are 2 tournaments in May. You know.
Okay, thank you, David. Okay, so we will address the motion that is before the board, and we do have a second.
I second, yes.
Is there any more board discussion?
Can I just ask a question?
Yes.
Not being a golfer, so how many people can play in a tournament on any given day? It doesn't matter what your designation is,
120.
120 people. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any nays?
Nay.
Motion is carried.
All right, thank you. So I have a motion to approve the MGA wanting to block tee times for their summer series events from May 4th, June 7, 8, July 13, 14, August 10th, September 7 and 8 for the tee time starts.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Okay, but for board discussion, I would like Mr. Ashdown to talk about this,
Agreed.
Yes.
because there's some questions about.
There
this.
will be some questions. Hopefully, Mr. Ashdown can.
So my understanding when I came in is I was setting up a tournament per month for the MGA. As we've been discussing right now, so I put things on the calendar, what I thought would work, and obviously for the MGA to have a tournament, we're gonna have some tee times blocked. My request is to have tee times as opposed to a shotgun start. Because we can fill before the tee times and after the tee times. Most of the time, these events are gonna be 40 people tops. We're talking summertime right now with, I mean, we probably wouldn't even get that many, unless we have guests, but, so at 40 tee times, that's 10 tee times blocked. If we started at 9:30, 10 o'clock.
Go ahead. Why starting so
Rob,
late?
Rob, please continue.
That's late.
Sorry.
So that's less than 2 hours of tee times. If you build the course, most people want to play in the morning in the summertime, so we're talking 6 o'clock in the morning tee times all the way till 9:30, 10 o'clock. That's probably the majority of the people are gonna play, so.
That is
getting
And
out-
so to add to what Rob's saying, I was looking at the tee sheet for this weekend. And there's typically not tee times after 9:30 in the summertime. Okay, and I discussed this with David. So I think I think it's appropriate to ask for between 16 and 40 tee times through the summer. To block that off for the MGA events.
That just for the men, you're blocking it off?
Well, I would expect the WTA to do something similar as well on different weekends, because I think if we did separate weekends, we're taking a small block of tea times. And again, we can fill in before us and we can fill after us. So I think that is the most appropriate way for everybody, because I have heard the rumblings throughout the community that tea times are not available because of the MGA WJ event. But if we had separate weekends, we'd have a smaller block of tea times taken and then fill in front, fill in the back. Everybody should be pretty happy, especially during the summer.
But are you saying that your tea times that you're gonna block out are after 10?
No.
Or so that the
He's saying-
membership,
He's saying 9:30,
9:30, so.
but he's only blocking these off once a month.
Once a month,
One week in a month,
which we already have the MGAs anyways.
right?
It was basically, I was trying to set up tea times for the MGA because I thought I had to set up tournaments for the MGA.
So for those of you that don't know, we just got a new MGA board and they just came into power like last month or whatever. And so I think we need to sync our golf calendar with the board changes. So we don't have this issue where the calendar is already set and then we have a new board coming in and wanting to change things, right?
It seems like there's that Rob wanting to do the best, but a little in confusion about setting up new events. The events have been set. I have a question. How many participants did you have in the winter skins game?
Yeah.
25 on average.
Correct.
And I would think it would be about that same for this.
It'll be less because all the snowbirds are gone.
Yeah, so I don't think it should be MGA. I don't see a problem blocking times, and I would defer to David to know so that it doesn't impact members, because that's a lot of block of time. I don't see a problem, but I don't see it, I don't think it needs to be named MGA because you can be in problems there, because here you're adding 8 more days, which now, again, the WJ is not gonna do that. It's one tournament a month. So I would say, do what you did for the skins game. Don't call it
This is
MGA.
basically our skins game.
It is.
Exactly, but don't call it MGA. Block the times, no problem, but don't call it MGA.
So we'll do exactly what we did. We just don't call it anything.
So
Call it summer series,
So Rob,
but not
so
MGA.
at Rob's MGA meeting, he discussed why he was going to do this. And I'll let you elaborate on that.
as far as I know, this was the MGA tournaments we were gonna have. These were going to be the MGA tournaments based on what you're saying about everything being set already. I have not received that. I just found out about the eclectic pads today, which is partly my fault because I cannot make meetings in the weekdays, and that's so far my meeting with that.
Well, and also the thing is, it's a little difficult, like Jaime said, when there's so much crossover when the boards change, because the same with the WGA. So we're kind of relying on a prior group to do that, but the golf calendar is set, it's been set, and it's on the website. We talked about this. I think golf committee meetings should be when you can attend, like on a Saturday, which they were when I was working. The only thing is, I don't think it needs to be MGA. I don't see a problem setting aside tea times, but you're opening a can of worms, I think.
Okay, Marty?
I just have a real quick question. You said that there is a golf calendar. And are these tea times replacing what was on the golf calendar before, or this is
No.
an addition to?
This is an additional.
So what's on the golf calendar meets the monthly requirement for the MGA. Is that my understanding?
That is correct.
So this is the comment that was being made, that these were to conform with the monthly.
Some
requirements.
of them coincide, right? They're on the same dates,
Okay,
but we're just gonna be playing a skins game within the tournament that's already on the calendar.
okay. Thank you for the clarification.
You're welcome.
These are additional tournaments though as well.
But some of them overlap, am I right, or no?
No,
No.
No? Okay.
No.
So we have another MGA tournament in July, in addition to this?
yes.
From my point of view, these were going to be the MGA
But they're not.
events.
David?
They,
So June eighth is an overlap, that's the SOS ride,
right?
so that is an overlap. June seventh is the day before, obviously, so that would be a tea time day, but June eighth is an MGAWJ, that's gonna be a shotgun, obviously, 8 o'clock, which. I think what he's trying to do is,
I was trying to establish dates
yeah,
that I could put these tournaments on. If a different date worked, then I was going to do that. But I have not been to a board meeting here. Well, I've been to one board meeting, but nothing like this to discuss. I just figured because the season was coming up that we were trying to set up, I needed to get some dates in front of the board to see if it was approved. And so obviously if the dates didn't work with other tournaments that were on, I would switch the dates.
So then the states aren't traveling. Necessarily.
Okay,
My question is, how many MGA members are unaware of this, this format? Number one.
There was a email that went out a week prior to the meeting.
That's right.
And then there was an email that went out the day of the meeting or the night before the meeting, I believe.
Yeah, and
Rick
that
sent
email,
out-
that email talked about a two-man best ball or whatever it was, the
And there was,
following day, wait a minute. They were gonna pick teams and have fair mutual. That's what that meeting was all about, correct? It had nothing to do with a so-called MGA board meeting.
incorrect.
That was for one event.
There was that information also that we were going to discuss the summer series that we were talking about.
Well, see, the MGA meetings are on Saturday mornings, once a month, the first month of every month. That's what's in the bylaws, and that's what was voted on last year.
Okay, I'm not,
So, no, wait a minute, that's been changed, nobody knows.
okay, very good. That would be a question for your president. I'm just
Okay,
trying
I
to set a
said-
tournament
I said
for the
this
MJ.
This needs to be tabled till the next MGA meeting, so we can all
Very good.
discuss it.
Very good. So let's just cancel the whole dates thing here. I'm okay with that.
You're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
All right, then I will rescind the motion that I just made.
Thank
And
you.
I will rescind my second, Rob. I appreciate everything that you have done. Thank you so much.
and
Thank you,
we-
Rob. Appreciate it, man.
and we will table this until it can all be sorted out.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else, Jaime?
So if Pat Hobbs would like to give a report.
Good afternoon, everyone. The golf committee did have a meeting on March the 2nd, mainly to address new business concerns and discuss items that our Director of Golf Head Pro brought to our attention. And they were the current Chelsea point system, the increased number of tee times and tournament cancellation times, alternate shot groups of 6 and 8 players, forward ball play, and adding a rider, a person to a foursome during the season. So these items were discussed, and they are going to be addressed by our Director of Golf. We did leave it up to him to, because these are items that he should be taking care of. So, and the month of April, at the end of April, we did have a couple of events that we did not have recognized because of the timing. One of them was the Ryder Cup, and the Ryder Cup was played, and Team Canada remained the big winner of that. And then in April, we did have our season closer, and anyone that played in that
that weekend, congratulations to all of you, because that was the most windiest, coldest, wettest weekend we've had. Yeah.
Yes,
And-
it was.
So, and the winners were,
Second word, Ron Billings.
Heidi Arsenal,
And Donald Barrable.
and that was for flight number 1, and gross winners, flight number 2, gross winners were Rob Story, Brian Brook, Ryan Vanillian, thank you. And Rochelle, Rubatino, thank you. I know I could count on you. The net winners, flight number 1,
Ted Meyer, Candy Drury, and Rob, I always get this one.
Magianis.
Maggie Alice, very good.
Flight 2 net winners, Cheryl Lake, Randy Langos, Mike Rubiero, and Rogerio, sorry, and Paul
Hanson. All right, so the first week in April, the WGA had their invitationals, fairways and fair days, and we had a full field of 68 players. And thanks to Jane Anderson and her committees that did a fantastic job for the 3-day event. Everybody had a wonderful time, and the weather cooperated for us. And the winners were, we had winners of the part 3 event were Karen Peterson, Jackie Bagnall, Kim Ladd, and Deb Covington. And then for the 2-day event, we had flights, and in the Carmel Apple flight, the gross winners were Lee's, I always get Baloo, and Kathy Spence, and the net winners were Sue Sim and Chris Moore. In the funnel cake flight, gross winners were Cheryl Lake and Linda Langos. Net winners were Elizabeth Leibelt and Lori Ayers. We had a cotton candy flight. The gross winners were Alana Moye and Bridget Casey. And the net winners were Karen Peterson and Jackie Bagnall. So for the month of May, we're going to have our cross country tournament on the 11th, next Saturday?
2 Saturdays.
2 Saturdays from now. And then on May the 18th, we're going to have the Morongo Valley Firefighters Tournament. And we encourage MLCC members to look into that and support them. And this year, we're going to have our 3rd SOS ride tournament to support the organization that gives rides to Marines at out of 29 Palms. And we'll have information coming out real soon how you can support the tournament and support the Marines that we hope will be participating in this tournament. Right now,
What date is that gonna be held?
June. David, I have May, I'm sorry. Wait a minute. The SOS ride, on my calendar, I have May, but you just said June.
Yeah, it's June, June 8th, May is the cross country.
Okay, so the May tournament other May tournament will be the Pose of Honor. And that will be on Memorial Day, May the 27th. That's a Monday. So that's what we have. Anything else?
That's it.
Okay.
Okay, and we will now move on to the Green Committee. Steve?
All right, I'd like to make a motion to approve voting committee members for the Greens Committee, Andy Carney and Jennifer Latte.
Yeah.
Second.
Yeah.
Is there any board discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carried.
And now we have Jack Peterson with the Greens Committee report.
Hello, everybody. Afternoon. I'd like to thank the board for approving the new members and also for house enclosure. That's for the neighbors that live down there, so that's very good. Appreciate that. To inform the members and the board people that couldn't go to the finance committee, the Green Committee had another RFCA for them to look at. That was tabled. It was not sent back to the Green Committee. So that means we did our job. It had the proper proposal, proper information. Finance Committee could understand it. It was to extend the footprint of the maintenance yard. So you've heard that in the past. We will do no more work on it because it wasn't sent back to us. That's sitting in finance. We'll see where that goes as we go forward. Make that out there. I'd like to give an update. We've been talking about turf recovery. Now this will be the third season. The Green Committee supports that we accelerate this summer that effort, and that means some things that will get in the way of play in some areas. Also have some areas that are unplayable. You go and get your ball, bring it back, and you play from the green. So I give you an update on the weed prevention and turf recovery. I did give the board members a few pages. The first 2 pages are from the superintendent. The second 2 pages are from the Green Committee. I'm not going to read from them. I put some back there if there's anyone interested in the members that want to see it. But herbicide for weeds will be February, so it's already started through May and then into June. That's to get rid of some of the invasive weeds that are coming in the brown surrounds, and it also is damaging the root base of the green grass. The turf, there'll be some chemicals applied, basically starting in April all the way through the summer. That's to strengthen the Bermuda base that they'll be working on and keep the weeds out, obviously, in the Bermuda base. The recovery part is going to be slicing, aerating, some interseeding, fertilizer throughout the summer. So I'll use an example of an area that we've had trouble growing grass in. Is the area between number 1 and number 9. That area, let's just say they did it all at once, interseeded. It would be roped. You'd go get your ball, go driving through it, letting the Bermuda come back. So you'll see areas like that. Some of them are large, so it won't be able to have brown under repair white paint just because of their size. Our suggestion, the Green Committee, was rather than buying chain and stakes, is to just take the yellow caution you see, police line or something like that, and just wrap the trees so everybody can see it. They'll be there through the summer. Obviously, in the season, they won't be there. But the idea is to get this accelerated Bermuda, so when we do brown surrounds, they actually are brown and surrounding. The Bermuda base and the fairways are healthy. My opinion, and I think the opinion of most people that are here 24/7, is the summer players that are members should have a nice course too. It's beautiful in the season, that's for sure. But our Bermuda base has got us playing in patches and mud. Well, they're members too, they deserve it. Plus, we have some more outside play. Outside play is going to start giving us some bad names if there's too many patches that they have to play. So that's kind of the big where we're headed. So with that in mind, to accelerate it, we're asking, and I think it's on the agenda, that on Thursdays, starting May 16th, all the way through September, that 9 holes will be closed for the day. Mainly for the golf maintenance staff to be able to hard hit those with the slicing, the aerification, and all the work that it takes to do that moving forward. That doesn't mean that every Thursday, all 9 holes will be closed. We have front and back scenario, obviously one Thursday. Next Thursday, if Rafael does not have the work to do, he's not closing it. So we'll be telling people in advance so they know. Also, they may have 1 hole closed on a Thursday, is all they need. Then we'll be playing the 19th hole. So again, the idea is to get this Bermuda base moving. With the targeted seeding, as you might remember, we bought a brand new dimple slicer seeder. That's what he'll be using to target seed. And when I say target, rather than that one big area I was talking about, but some areas you've probably seen as players where it might be 10 by 10 spot that he needs to either put in turf, which is Bermuda, or spot seed that Dimpler seeder is what's gonna be working that off. And those areas will be road.
Jack, when was the Thursday starting again?
May 16th.
Thank you.
And you can already see in the course, Raphael and his crew are starting to prepare for the summer. With his scarfing and all that stuff. So now for the other part that's critical. And I repeat, critical. I understand that people love trees. I love trees. I'm not their person. I only printed 7 of those back there for people to see, so I didn't waste paper, which is a tree. So I showed myself to be a tree guy. But yes, I'm a tree hugger by nature. But I did hear comments from people. I'm going to talk about some of those rather than the ones that were there. Some were lively. Some were understanding. Some were funny. I actually had people that say you didn't take the correct trees out, the ones I hit all the time. They were joking. We had the director of golf and the superintendent mark the trees as requested by people who came to the Green Committee meeting so they could see them. We started that conversation 2 years ago with 25 trees a year over 3 years. We have 775 trees. That's a small amount of trees compared to what we have. So with that in mind, some people actually came up and said, I'll give a classic example of one. When I saw it marked, I had a question. The one on number 1 tee. When you want to see that one, it's kind of in between 3 other trees. It's a shaded tree. It is leaning, but it's not because it's stopping the grass. It is actually affecting the main trunk line, 2 boughs and 6 sprinkler heads that it's lifting. If that main trunk line lifts and breaks, we are going to spend some money to repair it. So that is one example of how they mark the trees. Infested ones, aged out and dying, ones for shade. Shade is the major problem with Bermuda, and it happens starting in May all the way through September is the growing season for Bermuda. So our proposal, which we're not asking for today, we're just making everyone aware, so they saw that, is that in late May, early June, the trees need to start coming down so the Bermuda can start growing. On the front line, the lines that are marked, it's with orange paint, you've seen them, aged out, roots causing irrigation problem, drainage problems. Another one up by the number 1 green, there's 2 by a home. Understand that probably is afternoon shade. One of them stopping grass from growing, the other is lifting the drain. We can't drain them. So they're going to have to either repair the drain to get lifted again or remove the tree so the drain quits lifting. So it's things like that where these trees, while they are important because they're trees, have a need in a golf course, in the desert, to get away from the parkland idea of trees. Right now, if we wanted to go build a golf course, the Valley will not approve a parkland course. That's what we are now. We didn't start that. The parkland is trees, grass everywhere compared to links. Not going to a links, shouldn't have a links. We have plenty of trees that we can leave. Add some, maybe when we get to that number in areas. But the infested trees have got to come down. You know that. And the rest of them are just either causing issues or causing shade. So for those of you that want to get that, I am going to read just a little bit of the last thing. This is from what I call mapping the trees. Because as I said, there was things that we were looking at not to do. One of the major ones was active nests. No tree should be pulled down that has an active nest. That's a given. So if it is, it's just in the wrong spot, right? We have one of those. I did find one. It's on number 6. So makes Sue happy because one of her comments was a shade tree on 6. It's the orange next to the orange tea. It has a nest in it. I cannot say it is active. I've been watching it now for a week. I'm not seeing any birds. I'm not seeing any movement. That doesn't mean it isn't usable, but I'll tell you the predator birds that we have will not take someone else's nest. They're smart. They want another bird to get in there, they know it's meat, they know it's prey. If it's not their nest, they will prey on other birds. So two things,
Owls do use other nests.
owls do use other nests, they will.
They're not a predator.
They're a predator bird. Yeah, they're a predator bird. I was thinking more of the hawks and the falcons. Yeah. Owls will use other nests, but they will do their own nest too. They're not exclusive to that. So anyway, I'll give you a quick rundown. There's 10 trees on number 1. Majority is aged out, several are lifting as we spoke. None on 2, none on 3, none on 4. On 5, there's 3. One's aged or not aged. They're either aged or lifting water lines and fences. Those are all 3 eucalyptus. For those that were here when I gave you the internet research on trees, that's the largest water consuming tree. Golf courses should never plant eucalyptus on, and our superintendent was not like any of them. But good thing is some of the eucalyptus have nests. They're not going in as long as they stay up. The number 6 I mentioned has a nest. My suggestion to Raphael is either bring out a bucket truck, go up there and see if it's an active nest. You can tell. It's obvious. Or leave it. I don't have a problem with the other one. Number 7 has infesting. Number 8 has 1. Number 9, the other side of number 1 has 9 trees. So our largest majority is between 1 and 9 for the reasons so stated. So I understand, I appreciate the input. Please continue the input. Realize the golf course has things that some of us probably don't want to do at times, but to keep the golf course our single largest asset and to make sure we have good summertime play. This is part of the turf recovery process. Yeah.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, it's got a, sorry, I know I went over my fingers.
Last year, and I think we completed it last year, I don't see any more activity and stuff. We had that desert program where you took along the certain areas, I can't remember exactly all the holes, but.
You want an update on that?
No, I wanted an update because when I'm out there golfing, I see areas like, we went home early one day and we were through 3, 4, 5 on the track home side. The guy has some big flies up there, and there's other areas all the way down to 8 and stuff that I've noticed. That in my determination could come under the same program, but I know you had a deal with the water district.
Okay, if I update that? Okay. So we're still in conversation with DWA. We have 4 chosen areas, roughly about 30 acres. If we do all 4, that particular one is not one of them, but they're large acres or large areas. Right now, number 2 is in DWA with Eric. We've been talking, we've been listed the SCGA now, who's going to help us with EWA. And I got a call yesterday from the USGA that wants to come down and see what we're doing, because we're making good progress compared to other courses that are about.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So the next committee is the House Committee, and we have, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so House Committee is working on a few different projects.
Your microphone.
Oh, sorry. I should use my outside voice. House Committee is working on a few different projects, and Judy Grant is here to give us a report on that.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay. The end redecorating and new blinds for the dining room and bar are in progress. We're finally gonna get those things that are falling apart fixed and new ones. Artwork for the entryway is being worked on. The committee has agreed that a color picture of the MLCC sign on Hole 11 enlarged to poster size and decoratively framed will be placed on the wall above the couch up here. So when you come in, you'll see from up there and facing this direction and it's got the MLC, but we're flipping around the MLCC so it shows that way anyway. And that will be put on that wall. Frame photos for the other areas of MLCC will be placed in the dining room. Canvas style photos will be placed in the in rooms and each room will have a different theme. The board of directors portrait wall is in process and will be placed on the wall next to the matching display case. The board of director wall will contain a photo of the current president and the directors. The rest of the board, of course, too. Everybody. The exterior painting of the clubhouse in, etc., along with the perimeter wall are planned for the summer and bids are being received, excuse me. The in-bathroom upgrade is in the beginning phase of discussion. The tub and shower surrounds are breaking down, so the discussion is that the king bedrooms will have a tub shower converted to a walk-in shower, and the double rooms will remain with as the tubs and showers. But they're literally falling apart in there. Pendant lights for the bar were discussed, and updated dining room stacking chairs were mentioned at some point in the future. The MLCC logo, clothing, and other merchandise was discussed as a possibility to sell in the pro shop. Toiletries, robes, etc. for the inn could also be available for purchase. That's it.
Thank you very much.
Are they upgrading the sheets in?
Oh, yeah, everything's there, everything, those are pretty bad, yeah, and they're taking the stuff off the ceilings. And, the popcorn thing, they're taking that off, and all the rooms are gonna be updated and lighter and better lighting. And
the next committee will be the Member Communications Committee. Sue, the liaison.
I'll defer to Sandra Rodriguez to the report.
Thank you.
First, a welcome to Sue Ketchum for being our new liaison. We haven't changed it here. And I think we're going to continue with the same energy that we've had the last couple of years. I'm looking forward to that. Right at the moment, we've been doing, or not we, but David Cadillo, David is the controller and also the IT wizard. Insofar as our website and some of our other IT is concerned, and there are some updates on the website. It's been a year looking at new things, changing, updating, upgrading. Each food venue, it used to be a drop-down menu. It would say sandwich, and it would have a little arrow, and if you didn't pay attention, you didn't realize that the other two were there. They are now separate buttons for the it's sandwich, San Jacinto dining room, and events and entertainment. So they're actually separate buttons. Easier to see. They've got pictures. We've got pictures. We have a lot of good photographers around here. So each food venue and events entertainment has a separate click instead of the drop down. There are photos of the food and events under the appropriate tabs. Still a work in process. We're adding more. We actually have weddings under the weddings and events. There's pictures of weddings that have taken place here. So it's a little bit more. How do we look? What do we do? How does it play out? Going along with the pictures for the theme rooms in the inn with having MLCC. That's our brand. We need to show our brand. Under the club tab membership, there is a new page. I have a few of them back there. It looks like this. One of the things that has come about, we talked about how the condos and the single family homes are working better together and integrating. Walt joined the MCC committee last year when I looked for influencers. He liked the idea and he came forward. And at the same time, Helen Jones, who is another person who lives in the condos, came to the meetings. That's how this started. We now have a condo page in the website. It's club members at the condos. We have all kinds of things, but there's been a lot of confusion among realtors, among the brokers, etc., about what are you buying if you're buying a condo, what are you buying if you're buying a single family home. This is a quick, it's on the website, it's under the club, and it details the amenities that we all share and the HOAs that we all share, but I don't know how many of you know that the condos have an additional HOA. And we have discovered that some people who've been buying in the condos have not been made aware of that. I have been looking at, I mean, you've got to read the fine print in various places. It's a matter of reading your governing documents and such that you get, but by then you're already in the process. You're already in escrow. So this is on the public side of the website, and we are probably going to distribute it to some of the realtor organizations in town to see it. It's a real shock to find out that you have at this point another $357 a month. So they pay the $426, $327, and the $480 food minimum, plus their mortgage. So we wanted to make sure that it was clear and understandable, and that people who come here understand what it is that they're buying and are not disappointed by that. So this has been verified and checked over, and the condos have checked the numbers, and at the bottom, there is a disclaimer to review the governing documents for any updates. For the legal.
Sandra, you have a question?
Sure, hi. What's your name?
Anywhere in that, to tell the people the fee that they're paying for the condo
Yes.
includes cable,
Yes.
television.
So the bottom left here,
trash,
the bottom left here lists the amenities. I've gone over them with Walt and Karen, and we've checked them against, added. It's a private pool and spa, cable, Wi-Fi, water, trash, online, on-site paid laundry room, pest control, sewer, they're on sewer, landscape maintenance, building maintenance, and private parking. These are all checks I write independently. You know, I write for my pest control and my water and all that. So that's all on here. And then on the single family homes, so I'm calling them single family homes, condos, 1 and 2 bedroom condos. On the single family homes, they have quiet streets with custom homes, the HOA dues currently 426, and the annual food minimum of 480. Quick and dirty. Hopefully helpful.
Very good.
So this came out of the committee. A lot of discussion, a lot of playing with how it works. Let's see, we also changed under the club current homes from Redfin, because you can see a listing of everything's for sale in the community. We switched to Zillow because Zillow has more information in their listings that are visible. So it is now the Zillow listing instead of the Redfin, and there's more there. Now on Facebook, we've renamed the Facebook page. You may have noticed to MLCC official Facebook page, because there are a couple of others that are not official to the club. They don't have this Facebook, they don't have the official flyers about the menus and all the events. We've also, just to be safe, how do you become a member on the Facebook, official Facebook page? We are now requesting that when you request to be on the Facebook page, that you give your member number so that there's no question that you're a member.
I'm really
Nobody-
sorry, we do have to keep things moving.
Okay. Which takes us to this. You're the faces I see all the time. I see your faces all the time in the pictures of karaoke and for all the other events. We need some new faces. Do you have new neighbors on your block? We've had a huge turnover over the last 3 or 4 years. So check on your neighbors, invite them up to the club, help them become part of the community, because we're a community that needs to become more of a community. And thank you.
Thank you very much. The next committee is COPS committee, and Dennis, you're the liaison. Do you have a report?
I think Eric was going to have a few comments for us.
Well, I did meet with Larry a little bit. You know, they're, I think they're down to 4 or 5 people on the committee, and they're still, he said they will still go down and get the car. And they have to go pick it down up at Palm Desert, but things are a little slow.
Okay.
Okay, so, but they are trying.
They are.
So he's not giving up yet, but they're trying.
Well, that's good to hear that they are still trying to get together again and get back on the streets.
Absolutely.
Okay, good. Thank you. The next one is pool and recreation, and that is Eddie. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome. I'll do what I can to catch us up here, okay? So I won't belabor things. We're gonna move quickly. All right, so on April 13th, we had our first activity day that was hosted by Pool and Recreation. We had about 50 members that participated in this event, where we're able to have some games for the entire family, bocce ball, pickleball, ring toss, ladder. So that was a good thing. And just like to thank the food and beverage team and the management team too, as well as all our volunteers for that activity. It went out pretty good. I mean, that's the first year. We'll continue in the future and hopefully increase the participation. Next, during Pool and Rec's last committee meeting on April 11th, discussion started with our strategic plan for 2024 and what we're going to do with that area adjacent to the ADA restroom. And had a pretty good discussion. We're going to continue that with a storyboard at our next meeting and move forward with this. So I want to be sure that the Green Committee in future planning knows what we're doing. And Madam President, I think you bring this up to your board members so that everybody is aware we're moving forward with this out there. Okay, now, for all you vampires in the audience, I'm sure there's some out there, yeah. I'm gonna suggest that we involve Livestream Blood Bank and have a blood drive here at the club. We did this a few years ago. It was very successful. We had a number of people that participated. I know this because I'm one of those that have a blood type that this blood bank likes and continues to come after me. So I want to see what I can do to get other of you in this room to give a little blood. So that's something that I would like permission from the board to start thinking about and set aside a date we can do this. And I think that's about all I have. Any questions? No?
Thank you very much, Eddie.
Thank you, Eddie.
And, the next committee is future planning, Brian liaison.
Bill's not here, you guys hear me. He asked me to read this, I will read it verbatim, because this is what Bill wants everyone to hear, and he's got a great voice. At our next committee meeting, next future planning meeting is gonna be held April 2nd.
It has to be May.
He did say April, he meant May.
It won't be the 7th.
It's the 7th.
May the 7th. Yeah.
Thank you, Judy.
You're welcome.
Said I'd read it verbatim.
He's on it.
Bill, if you were here, you're wrong.
Is this future planning?
Oh.
That's a good one. What's your name? I love you. At the next committee meeting, civil engineering design firm will be recommended to perform and complete the design in front of the handicap parking area. Very small section out here. I don't know if you guys know, people have talked about the handicap parking. They think it's going to take up this whole thing out there. It's actually a pretty small section. So if you guys want to hear more about it, I'd love to talk to you about what the design might be. Utility locations have been performed. The relocation will also be discussed on May 7th. Did I get that right?
Yes.
Thank you. Drainage issues from Oakmount at the end of 15.
Yeah.
And 16. 15, 16. The golf course and from Warwick to the golf course were brought to committee on April 2nd. After any rainfall or any other water events, water stains in the concrete drainage swales. Because of the blockage of the golf course, standing water can remain for days, and it's got some mosquitoes that happen over there. After the meeting, general manager and 3 committee members assess the issue and then formulated the following corrective action: lower the existing golf course drainage swales to allow for the continuous drainage from the streets into the wash. Number 2, eliminate 2 dry well catch basins that block the water flow from the golf course or to the golf course. And number 3 is perform an elevation profile survey to determine how much soil material needs to be removed to establish continual drainage. And then on April 4th, the golf course superintendent, local contractor, future plans chairperson met at the site to discuss the above corrective action and plan A constructability issues such as water lines and cart paths. After performing an elevation profile and drainages, it was determined the swales with daylight, not sure what that means, daylight approximately 250 feet from the catch basins using a 1% slope. Very technical here. Thank you, Phil. Red paint marks were placed on the ground indicating the end of the drainage work. The contractor will be recommended to perform the work at our May meeting. Thank you, Phil.
Okay. Thank you, Brian. That does it for the committees. Thank you all very much for all the work that you do, all of the chair people and everybody here that works very hard on all the committees, all the volunteers. We appreciate all you do. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on, we will now move on to old business. And we have the paint palette. And
So we had tabled it last meeting, but the ACC still needs to review it. That was why we tabled it. So they're gonna bring it to the next meeting.
okay, so it's back in and being looked at by them.
Should be back to us in May.
Okay. Perfect. I think that's it for old business. Anyone else have any old business? Okay, so moving on to new business. The first part of new business is the motion to approve the 9-hole closures, which Jack was speaking about earlier. So can we get a motion for that?
I move to approve the 9-hole golf course closure on Thursday, starting May 16th through September 22nd, as needed, with notification a week in advance.
I'll second.
Is there any board discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. The next thing is, the board is now going to start discussing about reviewing the board recommended fees that and I think Sue is the one that brought this to the board.
Well, as a conscientious, brand new board member, I of course read all the various documents. And it says that the board will approve various fines or fees on an annual basis. Kind of this brought up to me because I've heard different stories. So I'm really just putting this on the radar. A lot of the fees are discussed during budget process. So I think what the board should do and what we should aim for is the fees that are not covered by budget be determined and presented at the same time as budget approval. So I'm just putting this on the radar.
So this is something that the board is going to start to look into, and we'll be working on that as in the future. And thank you for bringing that for us too. The next thing is reviewing the governing documents and making some changes to those. Once again, it was Sue that brought that to the board, and this is strictly under discussion at this point. We have not decided, nor are we going to vote on whether we're going to take on this as of yet. But once again, it is here for discussion.
I've been approached by more than one member, specifically for looking at extending the board of director term to 3 years. That's just one thing that is in some of our, I'm not talking about all the governing documents, this is again, putting it on the radar. The ACC committee has been working very diligently on the rules and regs. And we don't want to do this piecemeal. I mean, every committee shouldn't be looking at their own thing, and it needs to be a comprehensive plan, which is going to take a while. So what I am proposing is that every board member, committee, and member look at the rules and regs and bylaws. I think those are the ones to start with. And like we have a check-in point in 4 months and say, how are you doing? Because I know, again, the ACC is being very diligent. We did this about 4 years ago. It's time to start the process again, but it needs all of us to be reviewing that because eventually they go to council and they have to be approved by members.
So once again, this is something that the board is discussing, because it is a very large undertaking and it does involve a lot of time, a lot of effort by all of the board members, all of the committee members. It also is costly because it has to be discussed by our legal team, and then everything has to be sent out to the membership. So this is in the very bottom beginning stages, but it is something, once again, that the board will be discussing to see if this is something we want to take on this year. They were just changed in 2020. So once again, it's in the discussion stages, but we wanted the membership to know that we are looking into this. Eddie?
You know, I think it's a good idea to look at these from time to time, but I would say to you, you better be prepared to put in the time it's going to take to do this. Because it is time consuming. I know there's at least one board member back here that served with me back in that time that was involved in this. And it's an arduous process.
Couldn't agree more.
And so you got a lot to do if you take this on.
Well, and it needs to be, that's one of the things that the board really has to look at and talk about, because it's not something that one board member or two board members can do. It has to be a 100% agreement with all board members that they're going to be able to give this much time and effort to something like this.
But as ongoing, one of the things I brought up at the agenda meeting was in the last 2 years, we've run into issues where we're saying, well, you know, we're considering this, that runs afoul of our governing documents. I'd like some method of sort of writing down, create a living document a bad example is there was a proposal to not have an audit every year, to just have a review. Well, that conflicts. I don't think that's a particularly good idea, but that also conflicts with our governing documents. So it's a bad example because it's not something I agree with, but I can't remember all the times it's come up that something that somebody brings up is in conflict with our governing documents. So I would just like to sort of have a document we keep in the GM's office or something that where we write down every time we've butted heads with the governing documents. That doesn't mean that we want to change it, but at least it becomes a start of discussion when it comes a time where we need to do a restatement. That, oh, by the way, these 27 issues over the last 2 years we butted up against the governing.
We had to start somewhere.
It becomes that just would, as opposed to trying to, you know, as we get old, our memories failing fast. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, right.
Moving on.
Alongside the restatement or redoing any of the governing documents, which I know is a huge process, I've been through it at my last place. When George brought up the fact that 1,600 square feet, 1,500 square feet, if you're a new buyer, like I am, I bought a little over 2 years ago, and you read the governing documents, you see that 1,600 square foot figure. When you update or change bylaws, CC&Rs, there really should be a notation of revision, because anybody who's going to read the documents now thinks it's 1,600 and wonders why that. And that's a simple fix with a red line document that you input the comment of, you know, revised from whatever. And something that I would recommend that you have as part of your process is that you highlight what the changes are and from there.
Thank you. And thank you, Steve, because I like that idea too, because there is a lot of things that we discuss and a lot of things that come up.
And I can't remember them all.
And yeah, we have a hard time remembering them all. So that is a very good option that we really should be thinking about. Okay, and now we do have the motion to approve the variance on new homes and the lots. But I believe this is going to be sent back to the ACC committee for a little more processed. I think we're sending it back to them so that they can look into it a little bit deeper and get back to us with more information that we might need before we can make this motion to approve. And so that's basically, I don't want to say it's tabled because it's not really tabled, but it is going back to the ACC.
I think we can start working with the builder himself and George specifically, because he's got the contact to come up with a better plan that fits with what we are looking for, which I think we're on the right track. I think we're getting there.
I think we're getting there. That is true. But like I say, I'm not going to table it or ask to table it, but it is going to stay in the process.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion to send this back to the ACC until we can get some more information, and then we'll deal with it from there.
Will it have to come back to the board after the ACC to be?
I'll second.
If it's under 1,600, it would be.
If they're under 1,600, the board will have to approve it.
We'll have to make a variance.
The ACC can't do that, but if we can get the ACC to hear out everything that's gonna be done, we'll make it real smooth to get through.
Okay. So the motion has been made. Sue seconded it. Okay. Is there any more board discussion? All those in favor?
Abstain.
Oh, yes, Steve has to abstain.
Thank you, Steve.
Good call.
Did I hear? I heard one.
Oh, I.
Dennis?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Dennis?
Nay.
Okay.
Okay. So, motion is carried with one nay of Dennis
And one
and one abstain from Steve. Okay,
I just wanted to clarify, just transparency, one of the lots potentially could be my son's. So I'm not voting on any matter that affects that, because I don't think I should. So.
Good job.
thank you. Okay, and the last is that we have is, we have we
I'll
have
just
a
make it,
golf
I'll just
group.
make it. if you-
Yeah. go ahead.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to approve an outside golf group of up to 40 players on May 18th for a 12:30 shotgun. In the morning, we have the fireman's tournament. And in the afternoon, we have a group of outside players that want to bring at least 40 people and then have dining privileges after, right? And so for a 12:30 shotgun at that time of day, I think it makes sense. It's gonna be a lot of revenue for the club, right? Especially if they eat here too. So I would like to make a motion to approve that for up to 40 players on May 18th. Second.
Okay, is there any board discussion? I just want to let everyone know that Luce has agreed that that is no problem at all for F&B to have them here to have dinner that night. And so that's a big plus because it will bring in money to the club.
And it doesn't close the restaurant. It's
And it
letting
does-
up, the restaurant still be open to the members.
To everybody, right?
Everything will
As
still
will
be
the
open
golf
to
course.
the members. So it's a win-win situation for us. Okay, all those in favor?
Can the members ask questions on that one? No, it's board discussion. Just one question. It's an outside tournament. I think
It's an outside group. It's not a
Yeah,
tournament,
outside players.
right?
And in their request, is it mandated that they can eat here or are going to eat here or must eat here or anything like that? Or is
They've
it-
requested to eat here.
So they've granted.
They've asked if they can eat here.
Good money.
David?
I'm sorry, yeah, this came up after Eric already sent out the agenda, and I really apologize, because I've been talking about the, 24 players, 32 players, and for that, I'm like, yeah, that's not gonna affect. Then he came up right after Eric sent this out, because I got it, and he sent me an email, and he says, hey, we would like to have dinner as well, and I have 40 players, and I was like, oh. Because once you get to that limit, it's like, oh, I need to get it approved now, because for one, we have an outside tournament in the morning, and then in the afternoon, I normally leave it open for our members, right, for our membership. So it is 40 players. I don't think it's going to affect anything, and the golf course is still open for our members to play. So it's 10 tee times, and we got 20. What do we got? 27 tee times available, I think, or 30 tee times available in the shotgun.
Right.
30 tee times
Yeah,
available.
it's
in
a
the shotgun.
shotgun.
I'm only using 10.
It's a shotgun.
He just means T slots.
Yeah,
We-
sorry,
we-
when I say tee times, it means the slot.
We already have a shotgun. We had a shotgun in the morning, shotgun in the afternoon.
So it was, he was emailing, and so I sent an email to Luce. I said, hey, can you send them your food and beverage stuff? And then I asked Eric, can you put this on the agenda? And he's like, David. And I was like, I do, I'm 100%, I'm sorry, but I would just like everybody's, we want to go through the right channel, that's all. So I appreciate everybody.
Thank you very much. There is a motion and it has been seconded. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carried.
Cool.
And that appears to be it for new business. Is there anyone else that has anything for new business?
I move to adjourn the meeting.
I second.
You can't second it though, if you.
You can second it.
I second.
Karen did.
And the number?
The numbers.
Number.
How many people do we have?
What number are you?
How many total
Oh,
are there back there?
I got 4.
We got a generator here.
How many? How many?
24.
How many?
24.
24.
Full of 4.
21.
So I want to thank
Thank you, everybody.
Maybe everybody.
Here.